in this house, in this house, in this house,
in this house.
I'm writing a script for a video about a movie called Skinamarink, a film that plays with your nostalgia in a very dark and disturbing way and pierces deep into your very soul, if you let it. In the wrong mindset, it's a film that's just going to come off as uneventful and boring, and even in the best cases, phrases like these can still come to mind. With probably a little too long a runtime and possibly the most unconventional storytelling technique I've ever seen in a film, Skinamarink is one that's not going to work for most people, and I hadn't been sure if it did work for me until I thought about it further after seeing it. It's a film that doesn't exactly invite you in. If anything, it's a film that challenges you, almost coerces you to not watch it. But given those who are able to go all in and appreciate it for what it is, Skinamarink is a film that offers a look at the very ordinary and familiar through an extremely creepy and nihilistic lens that plays with your senses and emotions via its noise and visuals. Going in though, the majority of viewers are already going to know that it's going to be a unique approach to filmmaking. This story of an indie filmmaker's success is flooding film Twitter and stuff like that. A story about this guy who's made hundreds of millions of dollars on a film that cost barely even a few $1,000s, $15,000 to be exact, which has monumentally stormed the horror genre. And now I'm sure director Carl Edward Ball has endless opportunities to pursue whatever type of film career he wants. It is pretty inspiring. But now I want to get into my theory on what is actually going on in the film. Spoilers ahead, I guess, even though I feel like this is a pretty unspoilable film. My reading of the film goes like this. The main child of the film, Kevin, is having a deep-rooted nightmare within his very own mind, possibly during a coma, after a near-fatal accident that we vaguely hear his dad describing on the phone. Through it, the world is only vaguely set in reality, and so pieces of it begins to fall apart. Kevin begins to get confused and is also seemingly losing his memories of what little he already had. Only being 4 years old, he's only experienced so much. Thus, the things he is familiar with becoming monotonous, like the repetitive cartoons, sights and sounds that play continuously throughout the film. And the missing face of his own mother, who he's slowly forgetting the appearance of, and is even maybe a little scared of, as she's now so far removed from his life. My theory being that she's dead, but either way, she's absent. That's the part that really matters. It seems he's become so confused and is losing his grip on reality, so much so that he's beginning to not even know what way is up anymore, as we visualize an upside down house throughout the second half of the film. Moments like these and certain features disappearing and reappearing all point to Kevin forgetting simple things about his own life and like what his house even looks like. And it's here where I have to say a lot of other art house movies that are deemed pretentious often feel like they're being vague on purpose to frustratingly come off in a smart-arsy way. It often feels like films like these trying to be better than its audience, to trick them and to come out on top. They come off as convoluted and purposefully confusing for the sake of it. Skinamarink is vague with its minimal premise, narratively barren approach, and with hardly a speaking role, as well as no faces shown on screen. And on the surface, it does look like it's just like these aforementioned pretentious films. But I think it's a little bit more than that. I think it's a little better. Skinamarink proves to do a lot with a little, and to me, it didn't come off as like it was trying to be smarter than the audience. If anything, it dumbed itself down, as the whole point is essentially told from a child's point of view. And in that way, there are scenes like where we hear adult voices coming from the other room, but we can barely get a word out of it. It's like these memories you have as a kid where you've gone to bed and the adults stay up late and as you drift asleep to the murmurs and voices. You know, when you can kind of hear the vibrations of voices, but you don't really know what they're saying. And there are many scenes like this throughout the film where we don't quite know what voices are saying and we don't quite know what's going on. And it does feel like it's really coming from the point of view of a child who doesn't quite understand everything just yet. With minimal experience, that's just what happens with life. That's kind of how you start out. And through this, I think that Skinamarink is truly coming from a place of childhood nostalgia and is really kind of creepy in that kind of way, as it feels like a little bit of a time machine taking you back to the time where you were scared of just about everything. Scared of the dark, scared of simple, stupid things that were illogical, scared of demons and ghosts and whatever. Stuff that we adults often come to realize are not really real. Skinamarink brings these things to life. When things in the film seem to not make sense, it's not because they don't, but it's just that we don't get the vital pieces of information, much like a child. They miss things, and it's up to us, the audience, by virtue, to read between the lines. And with that, I have to say that I actually think I love Skinamarink, but I do think it's boring. I do think that it's not the best film I've ever seen. It's not super entertaining. It looks ugly, but everything is kind of for the better. I think that this is a film that was in its approach just about as best as it possibly could have been. But I think that I was alone in that in my cinema, because when I stood up and everybody looked around and started laughing because they were like, what the fuck did I just watch? Well, I felt kind of alone when I was like, I think I liked that.